amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies!
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan de Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. There's Michael Conchar that's got around Dylan de Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cuttajar's got past, so Dylan...
light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have gone green lights and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan de Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in and we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're off.
First lap. Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. Very scary.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. We are here for the round 3 of the SRWtv Motorsport Australia Formula V National Round 3 from Laguna Seca. I am James JP Parfitt, and I'm here with Andrew Cowan here this season. All the action at this amazing circuit here. It's going to be very, very interesting, very, very exciting. Got, of course, the corkscrew to deal with as well. Let's have a look at the current championship standings. You can see it there. Caleb Bellick is out in front on 120. Then we've got Sam Chapman on 102, tied with Jason Madden and Dean Fitch there as well. Got Pocock in 5th with Dave Roberts, Darren Fahey in 7th, Tyler Sheep in 8th, Peter in 9th, Mike Rush rounding out the top 10. And we've got John Schultz, Carl Stevens, Bond, Kevin Wakefield, Adrian Loretti, Brad Cheney, Stephen Sickvich, Daniel Byrne, Paolo Chell Philo, Di Feldman, Jackson, Marty Walker, and out the final places there as well. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting. And let's bring Cowy into the booth. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, JP. Yourself, buddy? I know it's bright and early in the morning for you.
Oh, yes, me. We are ruling at the moment. It's like o'clock in the morning. So there we go. Basically. So, 9 a.m. I'm awake already. Ray Douglas, see how my boy goes tonight. Steve O, he's been practicing with wheelers. Sorry, guys. Good day to Andrew and James. Joining us there as well. Just coming towards the end of practice. We go in here as well. Cowy, it's been an interesting.
Look, I was having a look at that table when you threw it up there, buddy, and if you don't count Caleb with the nice little jump ahead of second place, you look at all of the positions going down from there, and it's like single points separating, half of the field. So, a good result tonight in these races could catapult you up the leaderboard.
Yeah, it can. I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's so very close, and we're only round 3, so not overly worried about the championship moment. And the thing, you've just got to make sure you're getting board. That's the biggest stuff like this. Got to make sure you're getting on the board, finishing them races. That's the got to make sure races. Otherwise, it can go all a little bit Pete-tong for you as well. Don't forget, round 4, we go off to Alton Park. Then we're on to Oran Park, where we go to Summit Point for round 6. Lime Rock, Charlotte Legends, and at the end there. Laguna Seca, different entity altogether, Cowy. You've got the corkscrew, you've got the Andretti hairpin. It's a difficult circuit for these guys. It's going to be the most them to contend with.
We saw last week that it's really easy to take corner a little bit too fast and lose the rear, and that seems to be I know it's the big trouble I had when I've done a bit of driving in the Formula Vs. It's all about that rear, but you've got to be prepared to put it right on the edge of that grip, or you're not going to be fast and at the pointy end. As you said, the corkscrew I think will be a big challenge for these cars. I think the kink leading up to the corkscrew is probably going to be easier in these than it is in some of the faster machines. You probably find it'll be close to flat out, but touch a curb and that could be a completely different thing, because you can end up with an aerial bullet.
Absolutely are here as well. We get high now, and guys are getting up to Dave Roberts, who's just he's up now. 5. This is the run up the hill. We don't expect they're going to be miles an hour. Got masses to play with, but this is where we're talking about this. They've got to get it in the dip, but they can't hit the curb. Otherwise, you're off in that wonderful gravel trap on the right-hand side. We do know that Lagoon's gone for a bit of that now. That outside where the gravel is. So I suppose from that perspective, it's going to eat. Again, third and fourth, Cowy. Don't really touch second, not really down into first. Haven't got that lower gear to be able to deal with that. So it's going to be a third or fourth racetrack all the way round, isn't it? That's the thing for these guys to look out for.
Once again, the key to being quick in these cars is all about momentum. We've already seen a few different driving styles so far this season, and I think perhaps it comes back to, seeing a few of the guys that are maybe, primary V8 drivers, and they're driving a Formula V, so they're going to drive it one way. The guys that drive the Formula 3s on a Wednesday night that have come over, and there's quite a few of them, they're going to have a different driving technique again. And we've seen how some guys have been really early on the brakes, some guys have been soft on the brakes, carry more speed in, other guys have been really late on the brake and really trusting their instincts to get it turned in and not to lose it. So it's, and we already see here, it's only lap 2 of quality and they're already using the draft, and you'd think it's a race if you just jumped on board this stream.
No, the thing is they were 3 wide as well going around turn 1, and I'm sitting back thinking that's not the most efficient way to do quality. Like, don't want to be wide going in quali and your fast lap and trying to get a time on the board. It's just not going to happen. Caleb Bellick, well, Caleb's leading the championship at the moment. Exceptional job, isn't it? Really on board with these guys and on board with this Formula V in general.
He does seem to be one of the guys that has really been able to jump right in and be quick right from the word go. But I think the pack's slowly sort of starting to catch him. That we'll keep an eye on these times. Some great battles last week, and I'm expecting more here tonight.
Yeah, I think overall it's going to be very, very exciting. And you can see we've got a nice wide circuit here as well. So we can do 3 wide as we've seen turn 1. Do 3 wide on the straights, quite sufficient. Well, there as the number 87 really goes in back of, however, coming to the final corner. Times are going to be coming up on the board on the left-hand side. We will show you who is going to be there and what this will be. At the moment, Dick already takes on a 141.711 there. Nothing for Bellick on the board. There must have been, believed, an off-track on that lap, and it got a little bit invalidated, so unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to got a time on the board. But Loretti in that number 85 machine is at top in pole position. One of the people I want to pick up on is Daniel Byrne. He had a bit of a roller coaster, didn't he, last time out as well? And it's hard for Dan because he has got the pace here. I think that's the thing. Oh, he got the pace, but can he do it in a form that's going to? How is he going to be able to do that? Because it's tough on.
I think he's been caught mid-pack. I think he ended up with a penalty there for contact in one of the races as well. And the problem that we see is, once you're sort of back in that mid-pack, then you're really, that's where cars going to try and go 5 wide and zip across and go over unders and all that, whereas, this is a guy that's used to being out front. So at the moment, he's P2 in quali. Let's see if he can keep it up there and maybe keep his nose clean and be right at the pointy end.
Right at the pointy end, and been some very Now we've got an interesting calendar coming up here. What are you sitting back? What are you most excited for going forward?
Look, this is one of my tracks I was interested to see how these guys go, but I think Oran Park, out of all the tracks to come, it's that roller coaster style track where you don't get a break, and driving it in a V8 supercar, it's extremely tricky going through that section there. I think in one of these we're going to see the guys really pushing the limits of how much momentum they can carry, how fast they can whip through those sections. And, T1 or T2 at Oran Park, if you count the kink as T1, is a big place to make a move. And I can easily see guys making mistakes there and, taking out half the field. So it should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think as well, the interesting thing about Oran Park, if I'm not mistaken now, correct me if I'm wrong, Oran Park now a house? Not
Yep,
actually,
it's all gone.
It's not actually there anymore.
Yeah, no, it was tore up probably 10 years ago now. And yeah, like Laguna Seca having the issue at the moment. I don't know if you've seen it on the news that there's been people protesting the noise Laguna Seca, and it's, I don't know, my pet argument is that, you know there's a racetrack there, that's why the house is cheaper, so you buy there, and then what happens is 20 years later when they want to sell, the house is not worth as much because there's a racetrack there. Let's get the racetrack shut down so our house is worth more. And unfortunately, Laguna Seca dealing with that as well. Oran Park lost that battle. I think also, just it was a great track, but we saw a whole period there in the 80s and 90s where a lot of those small, great speedway tracks and road tracks really struggled to survive. It's hard to bring money in when you're not, a big venue on the main calendar for your series in your country.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and I think overall for me, when people complain about noise, that's one of the things that drives me a little bit crazy. We go and watch Speedway over here, and circuit is basically almost in the middle of the town. That's the thing, almost in the town. But they've got a noise restriction. They're only allowed to run to a certain time of night, and at the end of the day, you can go down there and you can test and dog racing down there as well. They have, but everything shuts down at 10 o'clock at night. Can't go past 10 o'clock. If the races are going over or they're overrunning, cancel the. Got to stop at 10 o'clock. And I'm surprised that something like that hasn't been proposed to say, okay, well, we are a racetrack like Laguna Seca. We will shut down. We will not do the racing past 8 o'clock. That gives them all day, doesn't it?
But then what about the mother with the 3-month-old baby that can't get it to sleep during the day on a Saturday and a Sunday because there's racing? I mean, this is the thing. Look, I think I've told you before, I'm a muso, and I've seen venues where the venue was in the middle of nowhere. How a suburbia has built up around that venue. And then what happens is the venue goes to, it's going to do a big rebuild. So 12 months it's going to be closed. So what they do is they let the licenses lapse because they're not using them. And then when they go to get them back, I'm sorry, it's been zoned as residential. You can't have live music there anymore. And, unfortunately, I mean, these things happen. And look, you can't blame people trying to, get a profit on their house, of course, and all that, or live in a place where there's no noise. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, economics drives us. So those of us that can't afford the bigger place have to look at, places like where it's a bit cheaper, racetrack, flood zones, all this sort of stuff. And, then it's when you're trying to sell it that you really want to get top dollar, and you find out it's not worth as much as you thought because of the thing that you bought cheap to begin with.
I think for me, that's the thing. You've got to really look at what's done. Right? This racetrack's been here for ages. I mean, at the end of the day, the racetrack was probably here before some of the houses. And if you are going to look at buying a house near a race, one of the deals we've got in place with some of the racetracks over here is they basically get because they live within a certain area or a certain zone, should we say, as we see Caleb Bellick wrong coming corkscrew there, and they live within I don't know, circuit or within tickets to the racing. Now for me, that's great. I'd go up to Fruxton Park every single coming on. But this circuit's it opened in 1907. You guarantee when this opened, there's probably a desert or area around it. And at the end of the day, this should have precedent over the house that are there, because you can't all of a sudden turn around to the racetrack and go, sorry mate, we're going to take your racing license because some guys decided to get rich, has decided to put houses right behind it. Well, that's not their fault.
based on our discussion on Thursday night during the GR86s, buddy, I would propose the question, okay, so, what if you lived next to Lords and there was test matches every week and the roar of the crowd and that, and they offered you free tickets, would you still go to the cricket?
I'd sit there and be asleep. I'd go, but I'd use it as a sleep, as my Sunday afternoon sleeping pill, Cowy. Because you and I both know that cricket, it's Sunday afternoon sleep if I put down. But that's the thing. If I'm going to go and buy a house, I know there's a cricket ground around me. First off, I'm going to get house insurance because at any one point I could get a ball through me window. Don't get me wrong, they're going to have to whack it pretty hard, but at the end of the day, I would get house insurance and expect that. That Saturday that there's a game on, I'm not saying every single week kind of thing, but I would make plans. I'd go out and leave in the morning early enough to avoid the traffic, and I'd come back when they all finished. They're not going to be there.
Unfortunately.
This kind of, I think this the thing, this kind of, I want to use the word woke. This kind of woke environment is a little bit crazy. If you're going to move and buy a house next to a racetrack, 60 old is probably older than you, then suck it up, buttercup, because I'm sorry, cannot be moaning about being in a residential area if you buy an house next to a racetrack purely because it's cheap. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so what you're saying, JP, is that your voice to the local politician that looks after, the area that this racetrack is in, your voice is loud enough to cry over all of those, woke homeowners that are teary-eyed. Yes. I mean, this is the problem, buddy. We all love to see the best intentions out there, and in a free world, everyone gets to do everything they want, but obviously, certain things have to be mandated, otherwise we end up with anarchy. So
I do
look,
get that,
it happens.
no, Cowy, come on. You can't propose anarchy next to buying a house next to a race. That's insane. If we did have rules of the police force, I understand that, but we'll get anarchy. But you can't, can't do that. I'm sorry, homeowners, if you're watching from Laguna Seca, and anyone from Laguna, if you need a spokesperson, hit me up, James Parfitt, jpbroadcaster.com. Hit me up and I will come and speak on your behalf that if they buy a house next to a racetrack because it's cheaper than what they can afford, well, tough. That's all I'm going to say. Suck it up, buttercup, on that one. There we go.
in my defense, my very flimsy argument there got another great response out of you, buddy, which is exactly what I intended. Now, we look at the racing here. Look at the name that's up the top, Adrian Loretti. He's one of our racers from the F3s on a Wednesday night. He's actually taking the F3 season off, and well, he's jumped to the top of the chart here so far in quali with we're inside the last minute. This is why he's given up the F3s, because he's jumped over and spent all his time practicing in these Formula Vs by the looks of it.
Yeah, and I think it's like anything. The more you practice, the better you get, right? If I'm going to become popular, not that I am at my age, because at the end of the day, got my back shot and I wake up with a new pain every single morning. But if I wanted to do that, then obviously I would practice and practice and practice and practice. Right, that's the thing. If Adrian Loretti is more comfortable in the V than he is in an F3, mind you, we are getting a new F3 coming out in the current update iRacing. Well, the Dallara.
It's rain.
324. Yeah, but the rain's only on certain cars, Cowy, and the F3's not covered in it.
That's one of them. That's one of them, buddy. The F3 has been named as one of the.
I read the F4.
The new one.
No.
Is it the F4? I thought it's the new F3.5 is the one that they've said is going to be rain ready along with the GTs and LMPs.
Oh, I thought it was the F4s.
Okay, well, could be wrong. If you out there in YouTube land know and can settle this argument before we really take it in a massive different direction, let us know. But that's the end of quali, buddy. So who stayed on top?
Adrian Loretti there from Downforce Racing is on pole position, 141.545, with Sam Chapman, Caleb Bellick in third, Daniel Burnett in fourth, Scott Pocock in fifth, Miles Bond in sixth, then Jace Douglas is leader in ninth, and Darren Fay 10th, Bradley Cheek 11th, and Graham Dooley down in 12th place. James Madden 13th, Dave Roberts 14th, Chow Philo 15th, John Schultz in 17th, Kevin Wakefield 18th, Mark 18th, Jackson Domain in 20th, Mike Rush in 21st, Steve Heath 2nd, Guy Feldman down in 3rd place with Tyson McAvoy there as well, and obviously guys are pro. At the bottom right, Pricey.
Titans.
Yeah, Pricey there as well. He says, I agree, they do at the local motorbike tracks by next to the track that council get. I agree. Ray is there as well. It's the same with airports go than the government. All these people and the local build out with airports, and everyone complains about it. Yeah, is that kind of I'm entitled? You know what I mean? Is that entitlement? I think something. And I'm a big advocate of, you know, you get what you're given, and if you're going to buy a house next to a racetrack or anything out, like, you know, an airport, then, well, don't really have the right to mine. Right? Let's be real. And who's got down Heathrow or Gatwick billion a year just because you've got a 200 grand house that you want to move out of because an aeroplane goes? Well, not being rude, most people look at the circumstances before they move. Right next to a racetrack, you don't do it, and if it's, well, you definitely don't. So there you go, Cowy. I've got to stop complaining now. We'll be here all day on this one.
Well, I was going to say there's a pretty famous Aussie movie that gets shown on just about every air flight overseas, all about the little man taking the fight when the airport wants to expand and take his house. You might have heard of it, the castle.
No.
Oh wow, that you show you really are a pom. But I know that it's sort of one of those movies that all Americans will tell us. They've either seen Crocodile Dundee or The Castle on the way over to Australia on an international flight.
Crocodile Dundee.
It is a really good movie too, Brycey.
all day. Crocodile Dundee for my morning, Tyson. Morning, Sheefy. How are you? I'm sorry if you've just joined in. I mean, I'm thinking, am I on a podcast or am I watching a racing brook? I promise you are watching a racing brook out here, just chewing the fat, and on the very early Monday morning for me as well. So let's see how this one gets up. We are going to wait and get the cars onto the grid there as well. So let's see what happens. It is going to be the green lights now as well. They're going to be rushing down into that Andretti hairpin. 5 lights, ladies and gentlemen, and we are green, with Adrian Loretti not getting off the start, mind you. Sam Chapman got a big old jump as they're coming down now on the hill. Loretti's on the inside. Bellick's going to send it 3 wide down into turn 1. He is. He's got his nose in front. Loretti down 2. Adrian Loretti down 2 places already as he's coming in the Andretti hairpin. And now, unfortunately for Adrian Loretti there, Cowy, not a great start off the line.
He got caught on the outside here. He got a poor start there and then he went to defend, and Caleb made that nice move up the inside. You can see here also is that Daniel Byrne, his ex-teammate, Adrian's ex-teammate when he was with Kittens Racing, putting the pressure on as well. But this also could be a calculated thing. We know some guys are able to who's that that's run wide in the background? Scott Pocock, I think. Yeah. But that's what that proves the point I was going to get to. Some guys are really good on cold tyres. Others take it nice and easy, get the tyres into that window before they start pushing.
First time through the corkscrew here as well. Are we all going to make it? Let's keep an eye out. Caleb Bellick gets jumped by Sam Chapman. Then we got Loretti. 1's through, 2's through, 3 through, 4 through. Side by side in front of us there as well. That was Peter Ziegler. One of them didn't make it. Oh, it's Jason Douglas. Ray, I'm sorry.
No,
the boy's gone round at the corkscrew. We did say that's going to... Whoa!
Oh, who's that flying off in the background?
That Miles Burgess. Where was he going?
I'd say that he's got very loose coming down the corkscrew.
Yeah, but hold on a minute. That weren't Miles Burgess. What's that went flying off? Was that Mike? No, Burgess went round. That might have been Mike Rush, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, he goes round and then...
It was a red car. Is that Chow?
Chow Philo?
Because I think it might have been him because it's a red car. We saw it, yeah.
But shooting... No, he just goes off there. So somebody went off and shot themselves into the unknown within...
Pete Seidler, maybe? Because he's also right at the back there as well. Mick Rush in the pits.
Our Burgess is not having a good time. He's gone round, unfortunately, already. Times of the ballerina on it. Pete Ziedler is... Oh, it was Pete.
Yep.
Pete's still...
Safety car's been called too, so we can have a better look at it now and see what happened to him.
Well, I will when I...
Oh, Chris Swaddling saying maybe his wheel disconnected. You do see if a disconnect happens, the car will turn left and
well, let's
fly
have
off.
a look.
So.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that immediate left flick, so he's had a disconnect there. That's unfortunate for Pete.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think he had some internet issues last week, didn't he?
Was it Pete who had internet?
It was one of our... I think it was, because he was running up near the front, if I remember correctly.
Oh. But there we go. The safety car is out here, and unfortunately for these guys... Oh, here, Cowy. It was all a little bit chaotic within the opening lap. There was a lot of people off. We've obviously got Mike had been off, Burgess had been off, Philo had been round as well. So Dean Fitch has also had a crash. Yeah, not an ideal start for some of these.
Again, I mean, this is a trickier car to drive than people realise. You know, I mean, part of the advantage of driving cars like this is you get the feel of what it's like to be right on the edge of grip. Sometimes the slower cars, I know when I've been looking into maybe doing some driver training myself to try and improve my skills, and a lot of them will focus on giving you a car like the MX-5 or the 86 so that you really learn to push the car and get it on the edge, and the V is another one like that. But lap one, cold tyres, movement all around you, it's really easy to make a mistake. And these cars, they're running so close together that when the guy that's only a few inches in front of you makes a mistake, then he's likely taking you with him.
That's the thing. Racing so closely, but always that potential. You're always going to get stuck with the fact that somebody goes off right in front. You're going to end up a little bit of drama or not backed away, right? On the road is all you leave space, just dramatic happens. And that's the thing, I think. You've got to be very, very mindful. And at certain points, I think you've got to have the reflection, the reaction of a pussycat. Because otherwise, cause at.
Well, you know, if this was real world racing, then you start to think about, you know, looking after yourself and your equipment, especially if you're the one investing all the money in your racing, you know. So that's where you maybe take it a bit easier. We're in the virtual world here, buddy, and it's I think night number one is the SRW Send It round. So, you know, the boys are certainly pushing hard and trying to mix it up with each other. And as it happens, you know, little contact here at the wrong spot is enough to throw you out of whack. And we've seen how easy it is to lose the rear in these cars when you don't have any assistance. You know, as soon as you've got someone else tapping you and you've got a bit of assistance, it's going to be even harder.
They lock together.
Well, again, I mean, you're racing so close. I suppose the advantage of an open wheeler, it means that you've got the width of the tyre that you can actually get closer to your opponent as long as you're in between his tyres and yours. But still, it does create that interlocking, and we've already seen, you know, a car get thrown up in the air in this series as a result of that.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's, look, these boys are out here looking to have fun. There'll be some of them that are really looking to try and win the series and race up front, others that are just having a good time. And I know for me, I'm not one of the fastest guys on the sim, so for me it's all about racing door to door, leaving each other room, you know, defending but defending cleanly, all of that sort of stuff. You know, I love it when I've got a fast guy behind me and I can keep him behind me for 2 laps, you know. I'm sure it frustrates the hell out of him, but if I do it in a safe way, then he's going to respect that, you know. When he finally does make the move and get up the inside, I'm not going to turn down on him. That's much the same here. The beauty of the league is, though, that these boys, a lot of them have raced together. They know relative each other's pace. Now, this is a new car for a lot of these guys, so they're still sorting that stuff out.
Do you know what? I've just realised what Sam Chapman's image is on the side of his car as well. Have you? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you've seen it or.
No, you got it on cockpit view at the moment. I'd have to have a look.
Yeah, he's got the imagery there as well of Sam Chapman on the. He's basically on the side of the toilet. His image is perspective on the toilet. I find that so amusing. As well, absolutely amazing from Sam Chapman. Fair play. I don't know why I'm chuckling so much at that, to be honest with you, as well. But here we go.
I know there's a meme going around with a plumber on the side. A plumber painted on, sitting in his van, and on the side of it, it looks like he's sitting in the toilet. So,
yep. We are going to be up and racing once more here. The safety car is in. Sam Chapman is now your leader. He is going to be green, and we are off and running here as well.
He checked them right to the line then, because we could see if you guys have to hit the brakes and go sideways in the background there.
Yeah, he checked him up at the beginning. Not an ideal scenario from Mr. Chapman, but I'm sure if there are any issues, the stewards will look at it, of course, once more. Daniel Byrne nearly into the back of Bellick there as well, Cowy. So, again, the same scenario for some here. You've got to get away at the start, and one of them is making sure you get off the line.
Well, one of the things here, SRW, once the race control's pulled away, it's the leader that has control of the field, so he can go at any point up to the control line. So he held them right to the line there, knowing that if he goes too early, he gives them the whole run of the straight to get a tow on him. So that's partly the reason I think he did that. We can see Caleb Bella going up the inside. It was Caleb with the big lock up there before. He almost went into the back of Sam, and Daniel almost went into the back of him.
Daniel Byrne right behind now as well. Up through turn 6 we go. The left-hander. These guys in these little open wheelers Formula V's pushing it up the hill as well. To be honest, I've probably got a lawnmower that goes quicker up the hill than these V's, and they are side by side. We've seen too wide not work here before. Is Caleb Bella going to get the room? He is. Chapman gives him the room. What about on the exit? He did give him a room as well. Probably a little bit more than he needed to. Cowy there as well. But I think Chapman erring on the side of caution with Byrne right behind him.
Well, Loretti had a bit of a sniff on Byrne then as well. He was up along the outside coming out of the corkscrew, so he got a good run there. But look at this jostling here. It's a 888 machine. Darting in there, that's Jay Dixon from DFR Racing taking... is that Loretti that's fallen back? Yeah, no, he hasn't. Sorry, it was Jay Dixon and Miles Bond, their teammates battling hard, and now it's Daniel Byrne caught in their crosshairs.
Daniel Byrne, of course, we know here is quick. Let's see how he can get on. Can he get away here again and try and get on to the back of Loretti? Looks like Dean Sinkovic and Jackson Domain have had an issue. Looks like Peter Ziegler may have also had another little bit of a problem here as well, with Miles Bond going around the outside. He's trying to get through currently over Jay Dixon. These guys, of course, battling away on the circuit. That's the number 86 of Bond. He's got Fahey and Madden right behind him. Madden looking up the inside now. Is he going to be able to make it through on the outside line, going up through turn 5? Here, Madden is going to take the long way here. Cowy is not going to get it through this time, and unfortunately he's lost a little bit of pace as they start coming into 6.
Unfortunately for Ray, Jay's night has gone from bad to worse as he's been giving a black flag for leaving the pit lane when it was closed as well. So Jay's going to have to ride off this race and come back for race number 2. Having a look at Jason Madden at the moment, and he had a great result last week at VIR.
It's gone round.
Oh no.
Coming out of the corkscrew, Caleb Bellick got it all wrong. He got it all wrong coming out of the corkscrew, did Caleb Bellick. Oh.
Is it contact?
I don't think so. I think it just went light on him. It did go light.
Oh, he's caught a bit of, the grass there. Oh, he's done well to not roll out into the middle of the track as well. But yeah, looks like he caught a bit of the dust there, and that just leaped him round. You're full throttle coming down out of there, trying to use, all of that acceleration to give you grip. And yeah, these cars don't appear to like the dusty stuff, buddy.
No, they definitely don't. What car does, though, to be honest? Adrian Loretti now. We've got Dan Byrne in first, Chapman out in front, and then we've got Loretti, Dixon and Miles Bond all battling away for that third spot here Who's going to be able to take this once more? Well, it's going to be interesting and exciting to see. Sit back, hold on to your hats. We're going into turn 4. These little Formula Vs doing an absolute stellar job once more, battling away. They are behind each other. 1, 2, 3, which is 3, 4, 5 on the road as they're looking at trying to go. Oh, I thought he was going to go 3 wide. Miles Bond as he clears Dixon there as well. Bond taking an opportunity when he did and moved up a place.
You know, I'll bring it back to talking about the fact that I think a lot of these guys, you know, are not. This is not necessarily their main discipline, driving the F3. So, the Formula V. So they're coming from other disciplines, and what we're seeing is sort of differences in driving technique. How guys are, you know, going faster through some sections and slower through others, and it does create this dynamic racing.
It definitely does, and I think you've got to look out for the fact that it's constant great racing there as well. You know, you've got this dynamic, you've got this battles, you've got this fights going on here, and it's all about being able to follow as they come around turn 11 on that run up into turn 1 again. You can see Miles Bond trying to make that move around the outside. He's going to have the inside line for the Andretti hairpin. Loretti did not cover him off on that run down. Over the crest they go, down into the Andretti hairpin, and it is going to be Bond. He's going to go through. I think on the inside he is. Loretti down 3 places. Now Jace Douglas is in the pits here as well. Coming out the other side though is Dixon and Loretti side by side. Loretti does manage to hold on to that position on their run around turn 3 as well. Hutto, I have turned it up. Let me know if you can hear me okay now as well. So it seems to be some issues with the microphone, but we've got Dan Byrne catching Sam Chapman.
We just see that the tow, even though, you know, talking with a couple of the drivers, the tow's not immense in these cars, not certainly like some of the higher downforce machines, but it still is considerable, and it's the thing that keeps the pack together. And then the moment you get 2 guys, Sam Chapman and Daniel Byrne, fighting, so the moment Daniel starts fighting for this instead of just sitting in the tow, that's going to slow both of them down and bring them back to the pack.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? They've got to be mindful of the situation with battles. Do you battle or do you not battle? And that's the thing, right? If you battle, you end up losing time. If you don't battle, you end up then bringing into the people that can come up behind you. But it should also be a perspective of the fact that if they try and not battle and try and break away from the pack, that gives them more time before they get caught. And I think that's one of the things they've got to really sum up here, is to make sure that they're not getting caught by the 4 behind. Because if they get dragged into this Miles Bond, Loretti, Dixon, Fahey battle, they're going to be in a 6-car fight, and that's going to be horrendous.
Now, I seem to remember being on the other side of this so-called argument last week, where you were actually mentioning, are the drivers sort of smart enough to think about that, or are they just going to fight and battle anyway because they're all drivers at heart anyway? So I find it rather amusing that you can see both sides of the equation, buddy. But can these guys, you know, put that aside? Is Daniel and Sam going to work together? You know, that might be the smart play, but you know, when you're a racer and you're here to race, you're not going to let that opportunity slip by. You're going to make the place.
Yeah, we have.
Make the attack.
Yeah, absolutely. We see. Oh,
contact.
He goes round. Oh, literally on board there with Darren Fahey. He just went in too fast. He carried too much pace there, Cowy. And unfortunately for him, he went near enough into the back there. I believe that may have been Loretti there as well. So for them guys, it's Fahey's got to come back through once more here as well. Martin Walker, G Philo, side by side now once again. Philo's gone up the inside, going up through turn 6 and up the run up there. Right. Oh, Walker's one right there as well. So yeah, great action so far and an amazing job from all of these guys.
Unfortunately, Dave Roberts has been given a black flag for passing before the control line, and that restarts. So Sam Chapman checked the field, and looks like someone just went a little bit too far. I know someone got penalised last night in the V8s for the same thing. You can't overtake until you pass that control line, the start-finish line. So unfortunately, Dave's fallen afoul of the big evil race control once again. Oh well.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's part of race control. You've just got to be sensible here, and you've just got to make sure that you're not doing anything crazy. And that's the problem there as well. I love Ray Douglas in YouTube chat. Dude, we may as well pick up our bat and ball and go home, he says, in protest of Chase.
There's another race, so, you know, Chase is going to have all that opportunity to fight his way from the back and have plenty of fun again. Hopefully he can avoid the carnage, but Jay Dixon trying to make a move here for P3, I should say.
Yeah, they're still fighting out. Dixon already there as well. They've got Bond in this mix. You've got Bellick trying to make his way back through, sitting in 6th place with Pocock and Madden. Madden there in that lovely liveried machine as he's trying to come up the high hill. Now he's got a bit of a run at Pocock. Are they going to take it too wide? Into the corkscrew now. Madden's on the left, Pocock's on the right. Madden's going to go through. He's got to be later on the brakes. He is. Is he going to get it stopped on the run out? He is. He did not spin. So well done to James Madden, and moves himself up into 7th place there as well. Great job from him.
We can see here a couple little battle packs sort of separating and doing their own battles. There's a bit of a gap through to some of the guys, so I think, you know, as we forecast this Laguna Seca track here with that famous corkscrew is, you know, trapping a few guys out. We've already seen a few spins, and that's spaced out a good chunk of the field.
Yeah, it has, unfortunately, there as well. That mid-pack from Fahey down to Cheney, down to Wakefield, down to Philo, who's got Dooley right behind him, are all very spread out. This front pack are the ones that are battling away here. You can see Pocock, as Madden's now gone up the inside here. Pocock got back through, Madden got back through on him as well, so they've swapped places a couple of times. Chapman and Byrne. Byrne has gone out into the lead here. To Dan Byrne taking the lead over Sam Chapman. We'll have a look and see if we can find where that one happened. It can't have been very long ago, though.
We're inside the last minute. I'm wondering, is this the last lap, or have we...
He got him on
we got a white flag from Barney?
Yeah, that's Dan Byrne making his way on through Sam Chapman there onto the corkscrew. We are going to be on the final lap. Oh, no!
Contact. Oh, Byrne plummeting back through the field, and unfortunately that's probably going to hurt Sam as well.
Oh.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact there. That's probably going to bring Sam under the watchful eyes of race control as well. And Miles Bond and Adrian Loretti are going to probably, one of them is going to walk away with the victory. And it's a close battle for those three as well. And Bellac getting on the back of it as well.
Yeah, we've got Miles Bond, Jay Dixon, Adrian Loretti here as well coming into the final quarter, but it is Sam Chapman going to take the provisional win. And I'll say provisional because of that incident right at the end, but who's going to get it? It's going to be Bond, it's going to be Dixon. That's your 1, 2, 3 with Caleb Bellick, Adrian Loretti. What about Pocock? He doesn't get Madden here as well. What about Wakefield and Philo and Dooley as they're battling out there? Dooley's just gone and sent it!
Oh, no, watch out. Kevin, you get yourself in trouble for that. Got to hold brakes. But yeah, look, I think 3 wide, but it wasn't just 3 wide. I think all 3 of them were trying to hit the apex there.
Yeah, it's 3 and a 1. It doesn't go. And I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. Here it was, the situation we just witnessed here. 3 into 1. There was a big old dive. There was dives. It was like a submarine tank training camp then. There's all 3 of us, all 2 of them had all dived there as well. So that was a little bit more hectic than we probably really needed to here as well. What about Jace? Well, he's on the fight with a 178 of Schultz as these guys are struggling here as well. And Jace now sitting down in 21st place. He's not an happy bunny. Ray's going to pick up his bat and ball and go home. I'd prefer it if he just picked up the ball part of that. You don't really need a bat, Ray, because that's not very exciting. Just see that little slide dig there.
Now, I think out of that incident we just watched there before, Graham Dooley with the biggest dive of them all. But I think he was the one that actually didn't make contact. So he got through there and got clean. And it was the contact between Chow and who was... I missed the other car that was with him there then.
That was Philo.
But, yeah,
Philo, Dooley and Cheney.
So Philo and Feeney, they had contact, but that was a great race to start off with, buddy, and plenty of action going on. Few more trials and tribulations than a few of the guys would have wanted, but that's the tricky nature of Laguna Seca Raceway.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see there as well. Heat 1 results. Sam Chapman in first. Miles Bond in second with Jay Dixon and Caleb Bellick. They're your third and fourth. Adrian Loretti in fifth. Jason Madden in sixth. Scott Pocock in seventh. Then you got Dan Byrne, Darren Fahey, Bradley Cheney, Graham Dooley, Charles Philo, Martin Walker and Kevin Wakefield with Mike Rush, your top 15. Beyond that, of course, we can see there at the bottom, we've got Dean Sinkovich, Stephen Heaton, Jackson Domain, Dave Roberts, John Schultz, Jason Douglas, Di Feldman, Peter Ziedler, and Miles Burgess there as well. So, yeah. Well, that was, if nothing else, eventful, as it always has been here as well.
Oh, look, that was some good racing. We saw, the track come really into the equation with a couple of tricky sections there. We saw cold tyres really become a factor, and again, that close racing, and unfortunately sort of create a couple of situations where we've had contact, and perhaps, the contact there may be deciding the results of race one, not only for Daniel Byrne, but perhaps for Sam Chapman if Race Controls decides to do something about it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out, I presume, as well there. So there you go. Love it, Ray. Jace is always welcome in the GR86s, says Pricey. I think he's better in the tin tops, though, says Ray. So, there we go. Well, the GR86 is a tin top, isn't it? It was when I last.
Yeah, well, I've raced Jace a lot in the V8 supercars. It has been a fun car, and so I had some great racing with him. I've seen him sort of start at my pace and then quickly eclipse me. And I think he'd be racing Tuesday night, except he got promoted out of the Pro-Ams and he's a pro now. So, and I think he's just found it hard to race. I can't remember if he was there on Sunday or not, but. Yeah. Like myself, Jace has got a pretty fancy looking rig, and he's one of those guys that absolutely loves it, young fella, and is one of those guys again that is looking at go-karting, or I think he's doing go-karting now, and maybe looking to see if there is actually a motorsport future for real in his horizon.
Well, at the end of the day, if you don't give it a go, you're never going to know, right? That's the situation.
Exactly it.
If you don't give it a go, you're never going to know. So give it a go and see what happens. Why not?
Well, that's right. Whereas some of us are just happy being armchair athletes.
Yeah,
and
that'd be me.
I will say, mate, driving a sim rig, even without me replicating the conditions of the inside of a car and making it really super hot in my room, you still burn the calories, man, because you're concentrating, you're working hard, and pretty much every race I do, I build up a sweat.
Yeah.
But I don't really feel the need to simulate exactly... Well, I was going to say, I don't really feel like the need to simulate the exact temperature inside a race car.
No, you're hot enough in Australia.
Aircon is definitely a part of the racing condition here in my household.
Yeah, we don't. Obviously, in the UK, we don't ever get hot weather. Our summer's like a couple of days in August if we're lucky. So we don't really need aircon. And don't get me wrong, in my office it gets hot because obviously my computers and stuff burning up and all of that sort of stuff. But I just pop open the window, so that's always good. But at the end of the day, mate, you've got to realise that you can get as close to racing as you physically can. I think Ziedler's still having wheel issues there because I've watched him 3 times go into the barrier in that pits. So I'm guessing he's still having a bit of problems here. We've got 30 seconds of warm up as well. I think, you've just got to be... One of the things you've got to realise with racing, right, and especially sim racing, is you're not going to change the world. You're not going to make world peace come out of this. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be possible.
I don't know if Lewis Hamilton's going to make world peace happen either, buddy, and he's a real-life F1 driver.
He's not, mate.
I hear what you're saying. But again, I mean, there's some big money in esports and just, esports gaming. Obviously, racing probably doesn't draw them the same amount of money that, Fortnite does or Dota and those sort of games, Counter-Strike. But you know, it's still there for the elite. We do have elite sim racers that make a living out of doing this stuff. But it more and more, the racing is becoming much more realistic. The tracks are laser scanned. The car performance is getting closer and closer. Yeah, you can't replicate G-forces. It's the one thing you can't replicate in a simulator, motion or not. But what you can do is you can give the drivers, you know, that realistic feel. If you've got your field of view set up, then your spatial awareness is going to be right. This guy's driving VR, getting that feel, you know, being in the car. And, you know, to be honest, I could have spent my money on a race car, but then I would have been able to run it for maybe half a year, whereas I've been racing my current sim since 2019 and still loving it.
Yeah, we've got Bradley Cheney in first there, the grid for race 2. Darren Fahey in second. Dan Byrne in third, with Scott Pocock in fourth and Jason Madden in fifth. Adrian Loretti down in sixth. Caleb Bellick seventh. Jay Dixon eighth. Miles Bond in ninth. Sam Chapman in 10th on that top 10 reverse, of course, there as well. Graham Dooley in 11th, with Charles Philo down in 12th. Martin Walker in 13th, with Wakefield down in 14th. And we're up and running, and we are underway here as well. Didn't quite get to the end of the grid, but you can gather it on behind that as well. Sinkovic, Roberts, Rush, Douglas, Domain there as well. They're going to crash at the beginning. TD, Bailey. Oh, Bailey's on the line. Oh, no. Gentlemen.
And Chapman.
Oh, Chapman's coming out of the pits. You cannot.
Yeah, it looks like he was given a pit lane start, I would think, for that contact in race number 1. But yeah, wow. Incident already.
You cannot crash on a straight. That is just no. Literally a no. You cannot crash on a straight. If you can't manage to run side by side, how is anybody else going to manage it into the corner? Byrne there as well. He's up the front at the moment. There's somebody off the side of the circuit in the background. Sinkovic, Wakefield, all got their own problems. More off the side of the circuit as well. Jason Madden moves up into 4th. Where is Mr. Douglas? He's up 11 places in 10th, Ray, you'll be pleased to know. So Jason up into 10th place, under attack by Roberts. Is he going to be able to get round the outside? I think that's actually Dix. No, it is Roberts behind him as these two coming out fighting out, but it is Dan Byrne out in front. Cheney, Pocock, Madden and Bellick there. Manic start for some.
We just have to. One of the things with, you know, the running down the straight thing. The one thing we do have with the simulator is not everyone can afford triple screens or VR. So some guys will be running on single screen, and that makes it a lot harder to know where you are spatially on the track.
No excuse.
Okay, I'm only providing a
driver's
possible
excuse.
Reason, not an excuse.
No, it's a driver's excuse. I am on a single monitor. That's great. Crew chief's got a spotter. Oh, Bondy. Oh, no.
86, he's come back onto the track. That could be trouble for Miles Bond there, because he's come back on and taken 2 guys out there. Another one for race control to have a look at it.
Yeah.
Chris Swaddling saying Repeat is trying to troubleshoot it now. Yeah, it's horrible for Mr. Zeidler having connection issues and wheel issues. That's always horrible when you can't race.
Yeah, definitely as well. This single monitor thing, as these guys are battling it out once more. I'll get back to that in a minute. Let's just see how this battle pans out with Bellick here and Cheney and Madden already. Then you've got Douglas behind it. Ray, don't pick up your ball just yet. Grab your popcorn more than your ball, son, because it's going to be going off. And how far is Jace going to be able to get up here again? You can see these little Formula Vs up on the run, up into the corkscrew. The left-right dip dropping down now as well. You can see Bellick's going to try and go around the outside. Is that going to work? It's not. He gets covered off on the inside. Did he make it through? He didn't. He's going to hold on to the outside line now as well. Coming round turn 9, on the way round through to turn 10. Bellick still didn't get through there, Cowy, but he's definitely trying.
Scott's driving a good race at the moment, keeping his momentum up. Or I think that was that Bellick blinking in and out there, and that's something that race control will keep an eye on. So he's got to be careful with his connection racing close. But a nice, good train of 5 cars there. Daniel Byrne checking out in front, so while they battle behind, he can concentrate on just being smooth and extend that lead out front.
Yeah, he is at the moment. It's 1.6 seconds for Bern as Bellick and also Pocock are battling away. Cheney's in the back, Madam Loretti. Here comes Douglas in the background there as well. Dave Roberts fighting it through. You've got this 5-car battle now. They are maxing it out as they're on the run round the right hand or turn 4 here, Cowy. Who's going to be able to get this one? Who's going to take the win? We're on lap 3, 4 minutes in here. Some great action from these guys. Some great battles materialising. Bellick gets through. Pocock hangs on just by the skin of his teeth as Cheney's under attack from Madden. These guys not giving it up here, Cowy. They're throwing everything at each other.
I think Scott Pocock maybe got a little bit of wheel spin or a wiggle coming out of the Andretti hairpin because it was there that Caleb was able to pounce to get in front of him. And now Scott Pocock has got Cheney, Madden, Loretti all staying pretty close. And, you know, he wants to attack Caleb, but he's got to keep one sort of half an eye on the mirror as well because there's some fast guys behind him.
Yeah, there definitely is. And as always, you've got Pocock, you've got Cheney, you've got Madden, you've got Loretti. Douglas 1.8 seconds back at the moment. He needs to be working with Roberts. They cannot afford to be battling. Otherwise, they're going to be in deep, deep trouble. Walker and Sinkovic side by side. Currently, at the moment, Walker in that 71 purple machine, Sinkovic in the light green. And then you've got Wakefield further up. They're battling away once again here. But let's go back up to the front. Is Cheney, is Madden, is Loretti, is Pocock. They're all going at it as well. We're going to see 3 wide Madden, dear sir. I'm not being rude, but keep it a little bit more straighter going into the braking zone. There is a little bit of wiggle under brakes there, Cowy. Not an ideal scenario.
Not indeed, and unfortunately Miles Bond was given a black flag for that contact where he came back out on track. I did think race control would look unfavourably, when you come from off the track and then come back on it when there's cars coming through. But so far it is Byrne now has got that lead. He did have it out to 2.1, so I think Caleb and Scott, that battle, it gave Byrne about half a second, but now that Caleb's got through, he can focus and is perhaps got a little bit more pace than Pocock at the moment, able to concentrate hard on chasing Byrne down. But Pocock in the tow, he's getting a nice little advantage here as well, so it might be a good thing for Scott Pocock that Belak got through, because now they can concentrate on chasing down Daniel Byrne in P1.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds up the road is Byrne there as well, Loretti and Cheney. Do you know what? I want to have a look at something here. And this is Miles Burns' incident. Do we feel Miles Burns couldn't do anything on this? You know, he's spinning. He's tried to avoid another car. He's got his brakes locked. Can he really do anything? What's he supposed to do?
Just split out onto the track.
He was going backwards.
Yeah, but I think he was still rolling backwards there. You know, was it fully locked up? So look, again, I've learnt a long time ago not to argue with race control. One of the things is that we generally look at 1 or 2 angles. Race control are looking at all of them. They'll be looking at the on boards. They'll look at the car behind as well to see if it gives them a different perspective. They'll look at multiple different angles and make that decision, based on what they've seen. And unfortunately for Miles, the long arm of the law has come down on him tonight.
Yeah, definitely as well. I know we don't often, Cowy said there, look, we don't argue. Generally, that's why I end up in race control, explaining the comments. But there we go. Loretti and Cheney are still going side by side now as well. They're on that run up from turn 5 into turn 6 at the moment. It's going to be Loretti's on the left. Cheney's in the purple 74 machine. He's gone up the inside there as well. Great job by Cheney. Now he's going to be running up the hill. Roberts is dropping Dixon. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to Jace, unfortunately, but it looks like some form of problem. Oh, Mr. Douglas. I'm sorry, Ray. Sorry. This is down into Andretti,
what's
isn't
up in
it?
here?
He's going to spin it up.
Oh, contact.
Yep.
We've seen that with these cars before too. That someone that nose to rear contact hurts the car that made the nose contact. Probably hurts them more than the car in front. If you tap the car when he's turning into a corner, that might send him around. But the problem is the moment you touch him at the front, you just lose all that front grip, and or the rear of the car catches up with you a bit too fast. And I've seen it time and time again, that nose contact. It's the car that hits with the nose is the one that ends up penalising itself.
Yeah, Douglas
having another go.
He's trying to get the inside line, isn't he, away from Schultz. Schultz is just out of the shot on the right there, and Douglas does go through, so that's going to allow him to start recovering up to Dixon. However, he's got about 3.5 seconds. Fahey, of course, we saw was caught up in the start. He's got Pete Ziegler. Ziegler's obviously got his steering wheel sorted out here, buddy, and it seems to be running okay. I think for Fahey, he's just going to want to get past, because the last thing he wants to be is on the inside of Pete. If his steering wheel goes, it snaps to the left, and then they're going to end up both off. Ziegler battling away, trying to make a good old defense here. Once again, he's going to try. He's going to try and get the cutback.
Who's that on the inside there?
Through. That is Steve Heaton. I'm going to presume it would be this one on the side of the circuit coming down into turn one. By the looks of it, it definitely is, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, he's just carried a little bit too much speed in and lost the rear. Very easy to do in these cars. Again, the idea of them is that, you go at a slow speed so you can try and feel those sort of things in the wheel. But unfortunately, sometimes when you feel it, you can't react to it quick enough, and it's gone before you even really think to try and do something about it. It's already gone.
Yeah, it is there as well. Bellick's closed the gap to Byrne. Can Byrne defend, do we think? Cowy, is he going to hold on once more? He's got to just lock up the inside, come out of this turn, go over to the inside of 2, go over, the inside of 3, sorry, as they do apparently make this turn 2 here at the Andretti hairpin. Now lock up the inside again. You've got to make sure you're covering them off. You don't want to go over, you don't want to get rolled over like a puppy and get your belly tickled. Do you know what I mean? You want to put up a bit of a fight. You want to be a Mike Tyson, Frank, for Holyfield, something like that, to have a good old scrap. But you don't want to be a poodle who lays on his back with his tongue hanging out here, Cowy, and getting rolled over from Bellick. Byrne's got to put up a fight.
It's a pretty wide racetrack as far as tracks go, and these little pencils with wheels in them don't take up a lot of space. So I think Daniel Byrne's going to find it hard to defend here. What he needs to do is make sure that if Caleb does get through, he can get back in that toe and, swap it back. So, this might be one where that now that Caleb's caught Daniel wants to maybe try and slow up Caleb a little bit to bring Scott into this battle, because if it's a 3-way battle, then suddenly Caleb's got to worry about his mirrors instead of just worrying about the guy in front of him.
Yeah, the problem is for Byrne, though, Pocock's 1.2 back at the moment, and unless he's going to literally slow that car down to a virtual stop, Pocock might struggle to get a little bit near. But what I would have done at Byrne is just lift off a little bit.
Wide.
Yeah, lift off a little bit extra on the throttle there. Now cover that inside line. That's it. Go over and hug that wall. And he's got to do the same thing coming out. He's got to get almost into the pit lane exit here before, and don't allow Bellick to go through. Slow him up a little bit. Now brake a little bit earlier, just a little bit. Pull out a little bit of time. You need Pocock to come in, so you've got to give him that help, and you can't give him that help going full flat. You've just got to back him up a little bit at a time here. I think that's the thing. It's about being smart. You know what you need to do, but just lift a little bit earlier at corners Bellick can't get through, right? I make it sound so simple, don't I?
Well, we've said before, when the moment you start battling, it does bring the field to you. So as far as Daniel Byrne goes, he's going to fight on tooth and nail here, battle hard, as you said before. Don't let Caleb through, because if he does that, then it's going to bring Pocock into the equation as well. I mean, these two could work together and really distance that gap and turn it into a 2-horse race. But Caleb already with a good, healthy lead on the field in the points championship, so I'm sure Byrne knows that if he's going to start to bridge that gap, he's got to finish ahead of Caleb and take some points off him that way.
Yeah, well, I think the overall at the moment for Byrne, he's not going to get Pocock into this. Pocock's losing too much time. Byrne can't take off 2 minutes. 2 seconds with 7 minutes remaining. It's going to be very difficult for him to even remotely try and get that. Bellick's not making a move, which is why these guys are extending over Pocock. Pocock's driving solo at the moment with Madden behind him. So I think for Byrne at the moment, he's just got to keep doing this. Keep defending that inside line. Bellick's not really making moves. He's not really making the aggression from him to come through. It doesn't look like he's setting his car up in that way. I think that's the thing, Cowy. If you can see him on the racetrack, Bellick's not making that aggressive body language that we're used to seeing in cars that are going full out for.
Well, again, and that could be the perfect strategy because, again, you know, if you can drive your car smooth but put pressure on the guy in front where he's got to drive a little bit closer to the edge, it means that he's using up tyres. And, you know, perhaps, you know, when we get down to the last couple of laps, that's when you make your move. So, I mean, these are all of the I suppose, the racing strategies and the technique and I suppose the nuance of driving and, you know, how do you make these attacks? I mean, Caleb has shown so far this season that he's got outright pace. So he could certainly, you know, make a move, and if he gets past, he could drive away with it. Daniel knows if he keeps him back there, he's got to fight and maybe uses up those tyres a bit more. Look, Daniel Byrne has been fast in open wheelers. You know, he's been right at the front of the field in the F3s, and you know, I think, as you said, maybe is spending more practice time in the F3s than in the Formula Vs. So perhaps Caleb's the one that, at the moment, he seems to be the most switched on in this car. But even then, you know, we've seen mistakes made by the leaders. So, you know, I really, I haven't tried to drive these cars. They're a lot harder than people think. Yeah, they're not a big, fast, super machine, but it's all about flow and brake, you know, being smooth in this car where you get pace. It's all about momentum. The moment you sort of try to drive it with a heavy foot, that's when it can play tricks on you.
If you want to practice in these machines, Cowy, you've got to put the practice in, right? And you just need to make sure that you're keeping up the flow. And if you get these cars right, it puts you in good stead for any formulas above it.
Well, that's why they've been, you know, a feeder car in so many series, you know, across the world, where, you know, this was one of the more affordable series. Generally, they're sort of all pretty much the same car-controlled machinery on the cars, so there's no real big technical advantage. So it does bring out driver skill, and it's where you learn those tools of the trade: how to draft, how to bump draft, how to drive side by side, how to leave each other room, those sort of things.
Yeah, you definitely do there as well. We'll keep an eye on this one. Nothing's eventually happening at the moment. Roberts is now caught up to Loretti. Douglas is now down here. He's lost a place to Sam Chapman as well. Chapman making his way back through the field, of course, here. So he's battling his way through. Wakefield and Sinkovic having a great battle as he's coming over the line. Sinkovic is going to hug that left-hand white line there, trying to allow Wakefield to not have the inside. He's later on the brakes here as well. is Mr. Dean Sinkovich, of course, and then Wakefield can't get through at that moment. Loretti and Madden there coming up over the hill. There's Madden there. Loretti has got Roberts tucked up right behind him as they're coming in through the corkscrew here as well. We've only got, what have we got on the clock? 18:35. I think these guys are going to come over. This will be the final lap of the race here, Cowy, I think. Burns in the pits!
Oh!
Again!
So is he defueled himself, or?
Oh.
Well, we saw them all make it to the end last race, and there's the white flag. I can't see a penalty there for Byrne.
Oh, it's just...
But look, there's a few cars coming into the pits. So I'm thinking this is a splash. Yeah, look, he's gone straight away. So this is another one of those races where if you lead from the front, you haven't got enough fuel to get home.
Yeah.
So sitting in the tow from Caleb there has been the play. And we saw it last week. We see it again this week where the fuel margins were really, really close.
Mm-hmm. The few of them here as well. That's going to allow, Ray, on the upside, that's going to allow your boy up here in up 15 places, sitting in 6th at the moment. He's got Dan Byrne behind him and Cheney behind that, and he's only got one more lap to hold on to them here as well. Great job from these guys. We'll pick up on Caleb Bellick as he's coming into the left-hander on 6 on the run-up into the corkscrew for the final time. It looks like Bellick's going to wrap this win up again here, buddy, and he's done a great job once more. Needed a safety car for fuel saving, says Chris Swadlin in YouTube chat as well. So Chris there needed a safety car for fuel saving.
Wow, so certainly has changed the dynamic. I mean, we did not expect this at all to be a factor tonight, though I suppose we didn't expect it last week until it happened too, buddy. But coming around the last corner, Caleb Bellick has made sure he's kept enough in the tank.
He's going to come over
to bring
the
this
line.
one home.
Yep, here we go. Caleb Bellick is going to be your winner of race 2. Great job there as well. Where is everybody else? Adrian Loretti is going to wrap up 2nd place with Pocock in 3rd. Dixon's 4th. We've got Chapman 5th. Then we're behind that, we've got Douglas. We've got a last lap splash and dash from Bradley Cheney. Burns it again. I am so confused. Why would Byrne be in again?
I'm not sure.
He hasn't got enough fuel.
Did he not put enough in, or he did that tiny little splash?
There's crew chiefs here that do monitor the fuel and can do it, unless you're using the iRacing fueling system, of course. And maybe he's been under-fueled because he's dropping down the order now. Unfortunately for Dan Byrne, he's just managed to get to his pit box, but it is Caleb Bellick, your winner here again, and some great running there as well. And chaos again at the end of the race at Cowy.
It has not failed to, throw up some curveballs already. We're only 3 rounds into the Formula V season here from Motorsports Australia, and each week it's been plenty to talk about, and those fuel numbers a factor again tonight.
Yeah, they definitely are. Jace Douglas does come over in 6th there, Ray. A good recovery in race 2 for him, but everybody else just coming over the line once more as well. So, drastic ending for some and a drastic ending for others, as there's more into the pits as well. That's Miles Bond coming into the pits on the last lap. He's going to go down the order. He's got to get over the line. Mind you, he just about managed it there as well. So Miles Bond does get over the line again, but once more, it throws up some interesting insights here for us to figure it out here, and we'll find it out when we chat to the drivers. But let's bring you up the results. Caleb Bellick is your winner. Adrian Loretti in 2nd with Scott Pocock in 3rd. Jay Dixon 4th. Then we've got Sam Chapman, race 1 winner, finishes in 5th. Jace Douglas there with James Madden and Bradley Cheney. John Schultz and Dave Roberts rounds out the top 10. Di Feldman got an 11th. Great job from Di there, up 11 places. Dan Byrne down in 12th with that fuel issue right at the end. Then we've got Charles Filo, Jackson Domain, Kevin Wakefield rounding out the top 15. Martin Walker, Mike Rush, and Dean Sinkovich there as well. Graham Dooley, Darren Fahey, Miles Bond, Steve Heaton, Peter Ziedler, and Miles Burgess comes over the line in 24th place. Well, that was interesting. So got Box Derby.
Looking at these guys going around here too, so, one of the rules that we have here at SRW is that for that last race, you've got to get back to your pit. So as Chris has said, it's a bit of a soapbox derby to get it back, because these guys have used every ounce of fuel saving in a draft out there to be able to get around without having to do that extra pit stop. And then they've still got to do another lap to get the car back, because if you don't get back under your own steam, so you can't even get a push from your teammate, buddy. If you don't make it back under your own steam, that is a rear grid penalty for the following week.
Yeah, unfortunately for some of these drivers, it looks like it may have been a bit of a struggle to get back here as well. I wonder how
any of them stopped on the track?
I can't.
Have you got the track map?
Yeah, I can't see anybody at the moment. The track map, unfortunately, is Masuf. So there as well. It looks like some of these guys should be able to make it back here as well. But where do you go on punishments for that? Because should they be punished?
Well, it's in the rule book, buddy. Everyone's got to make sure they keep enough fuel on board to do the cool down lap. So it's in the rule book. It's been pretty much a staying rule here.
Yeah, I don't know.
And yeah, I think race control just saying to them then that's post-race procedures in the on the radio there, the boys talking about it. But it's in the rule book. Got to do it in the V8. I've seen it become a factor. It's been an issue for me where I've gone stuff, but I'm going for the podium and I'll wear the rear grid for next week. And deliberately made that choice. And I suppose in a tight fuel race, that's the risk versus reward. Are you going to go for the W and maybe risk not making it back and have to start at the back the following week? Well, I think quite a few of us, especially if you're not in the championship running, are going to take that W or that great result over and then start from the rear and see if you can do it from the rear the following week.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one here as well, but we've got some of the drivers in the chat room. Let's have a chat with your race 2 winner. He's up 6 places from race 1 to take the victory in race 2. Caleb Bellick, he had a spin, don't forget, as well, in race 1 coming through the corkscrew, but he's here to tell us all about it. Mr. Bellick, welcome in, dear sir.
Yeah, well, where to start? I mean, such an eventful race, honestly. I think we'll start with my untimely spin through the corkscrew. Obviously put us on the back foot into that race and heading into this race. Managed to do a fairly good recovery and finish 4th, which made me start this race from 7th, and the fuel-saving games were on again, and we managed to do that the best and get to the end.
Yeah, we didn't see everyone manage it, unfortunately. Poor old Daniel Byrne had to go. Well, he went in twice, actually. He went in once to get fuel and then went in again. How close was it, Caleb? Because obviously you've got to get back to the pit box under your own steam after the race as well. Did you just about manage it on that cool-down lap?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you were watching, but I put my clutch in once I was up the top of the corkscrew and rolled all the way down to the grid.
Fair play there, buddy, as well. And another great outing for you. Not bad points all. I know race 1 didn't exactly go to plan, but you're still managing to keep that top spot in the Drivers' Championship there as well, with your lead of 18 coming in here. You know, you're looking fairly comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, well, don't jinx me, but hopefully we can keep getting at least the round win, which hopefully we come away with tonight, because it's ultimately consistency that wins championships, not one-off performances.
Yeah, I do fully agree.
Now, Caleb, the track, how was that car and track combination tonight? Because it looked tricky at times. We saw you cop a bit of the dust there coming out of the corkscrew, and that's what it cost you. But we saw that lap after lap, you guys were running really close to the line to the dust, because that's what you had to do to keep the momentum going. So was it tricky out there tonight?
Oh, I mean, there's a mix of easy, intermediate, and hard corners here. Obviously, the corkscrew's a really tricky one, but there's a lot of high-speed corners that don't require too much effort, so it balances itself out. But obviously, if you drop your guard, you're going to be gone.
Oh, there you go. Thanks so much for joining us, Caleb. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I think I just want to say thanks to SLM Motorsport, such an awesome team. Nathan Allen helping me, making sure I kept calm in the races, and Pioneer DJ.
Awesome stuff. Well, Caleb, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy, and we look forward to seeing what you can do at Alton Park next week.
Yeah, it'll be a crazy track.
It definitely will be. Take care, bud.
You too.
Now, next up in the interview room is Adrian Loretti, finished second in race 1. He's up second in race 2, up 4 places from race 1. Adrian, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, good.
You good? Fuel saving aplenty in race 2 then, by the seems of it.
Well, no fuel saving until I realised and crossed the line and then realised I did a full cool down lap.
And did you?
So I just had to get to the top of the corkscrew and clutch in, basically.
Yeah, it seems to be the thing, isn't it? At the top of the corkscrew, clutch in. How crazy was it out there? Because there was a lot going on.
Oh, there was plenty going on. I'm still trying to get used to this car, to be honest. But I'm spewing in the first race. I think I went off to the last lap down in the corkscrew. I got a slow down, so I did a lift and I dropped a few positions there. But I enjoyed it. It was good.
Now, Adrian, we've missed you from the F3s, buddy. Is that because you're spending all your time practicing in this machine now?
Oh yeah, it's all about practice, isn't it? No, it's the timing just doesn't work with me and the kids on Wednesday, unfortunately.
Well, there we go. Adrian, thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. Great job on your second place as well. Nice little point tool for this evening's round. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, well, I've got to normally I thank my previous team, but they've been bought out by DFR, so we'll thank DFR. And yeah, I'll just say hello to the kids as well, Daniela and Michael.
Awesome stuff there, buddy. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can do next week.
Cheers, thanks guys.
Well, next up in the booth here, Cowy, is Scott Pocock. He finished third in race 2. He was up 1 from race 1 where he finished in 4th. Scott, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, buddy. I've just watched an absolute crazy race here in the Formula V's at Laguna Seca. Seems to be a tricky one for some.
Yeah, it's got some corners that you can really easily overdrive into, and then it just ruins the next sort of third of a lap.
Is that because of the momentum, bud, and keeping the speed up? Because we know you don't use second gear here. Here it's third and fourth all the way. Was that the problem, keeping the momentum speed?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Now, how tough is it on cold tyres? And that we saw quite a bit happen at the start of these races. I mean, every round so far we've seen, it be rather tight and loose there for the first lap or two. Are they quite difficult getting them off the line in those first couple of corners when they're cold?
Getting off the line's pretty easy. Well, I chuck it in second gear. It's probably not the fastest way, but it avoids me missing the shift between 1 and 2. So it gets off the line all right. I think by the time you get to the first corner, the rears are a little bit cold. But this thing was really fast on cold tyres at Laguna. So, once you get around the first sort of few corners, then it's really quick after that.
Well, there you go. Great insight there from Scott Pocock here as well. Scotty, anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, I'm just glad Adrian finished the race ahead of me today after last week's little boo-boo into pits.
Great job, buddy. Well, we'll look forward to seeing how you get on next week at Alton Park.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I love Alton Park. It'll be a difficult track to drive with in a pack, but we'll see how we go.
Well, good luck, mate, and take care there, buddy, for the rest of the week.
Thanks, guys.
And our final interview is your winner from race 1, Mr. Sam Chapman. Sam, welcome in. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Bit of mischief, but we're okay.
Come on in, give us a run on race 1, buddy. How was it? What happened?
I mean, race 1, like up until that final bit was brilliant. It was largely well managed. Safety car meant that we didn't have to do a whole bunch of fuel saving in the car as well. And I was sort of just waiting behind Daniel ready to pounce up there, and I think I pulled right just a split second too late. So public apology to him. He deserved that race. Yeah, so we were good from there.
Definitely. Race 2 as well here for you, Sam, finishing 5th in the end. You know, it was quite chaotic for race 2.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, I started rear of grid, so it was already sort of 10 seconds back from the back of the pack when we started, so it must have been relatively chaotic to go up to 5th. But then once again, you know, if you weren't actively saving fuel, you weren't going to make it to the end. And I forgot about that little rule of get home to the pit stop until we were reminded on the final lap. So we very slowly made our way up to the corkscrew, and we're very lucky to get back down again.
It does seem that the corkscrew was a saver of a few people tonight, because once you got to the top there, you could just clutch it in and get back to your box. So I don't think you're the only one there, but you had that. Was it a pit lane start or a rear grid for race number 2? Because I thought, as you said, that put you well behind the action, because there was a big chunk of cars going everywhere that you could have easily got caught in the middle of.
Yeah, so pit lane start. So I think what it did was once the race starts, I've got another 15 seconds sitting in pit box, and then I can come out. So you do start behind the action, but you do start away from the action, which isn't always so bad in the early stages of a reverse grid at Laguna Seca.
I fully agree with you there as well. Sam, thanks so much for joining us. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Well, thank you to the team and their sponsors, Sofa Vision, and all of their sponsors. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for you guys for broadcasting and everyone else for racing.
Awesome stuff. Well, Sam, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy, and we look forward to seeing how next week goes for you.
Cheers.
Well,
JP, Chris Swadling in the chat there saying there was quite a bit of chatter on the radio about the boys if they could get to the top of the hill there on that cool down lap. So
I think that was the point, wasn't it? You get to the top and then basically, as you say, clutch it and roll down the hill and make it all through. But they all seem fairly upbeat about it, you know what I mean? And fairly interesting. I didn't get to have a chat with Dan Byrne, which I was hoping he would pop in so we could find out what actually went on there. But, you know, interesting one. And now we're going on to Alton Park. I don't even know what's going to happen there, to be honest.
Well, already, was it Caleb or Sam that said that? No, it was Scott that said it was one of his favourite tracks. So he might be the dark horse to keep an eye on next week. But we know that, look, Caleb Bellick is showing supreme pace in these machines. And I think, we will certainly, now that he sort of confirming himself at the pointy end of the field for the season, I think we can accept Caleb to be doing quite a bit of practice, before next Monday night. So we'll have to see if Scott can can take the fight to Caleb.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, that's going to bring this one to an end. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a very interesting evening of racing. I've been James Parfitt alongside Andrew Cowan here as well. But for now, guys, as always, we look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget, like, subscribe and turn on the bells and do all that other fancy jazz as well. But for now, guys, from us up here in the booth, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because, tell you what, Bruce Tanak Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.